What's up? This is the Hoppe and SuperRICH Show. And before we get the show going, call us at 630-785-2510. That's 630-785-2510. Or you can tweet at me at HoppeRadio893. I want to tell you guys why I'm here doing the show right now. I've been listening to radio for 10 years. I grew up listening to such shows as Eddie and Jobo, Drac, and Rover's Morning Glory in 2006. And when they were on and they replaced Howard, that's one of my favorite shows. Because I like that breed of edgy talk radio where you speak your mind and you don't care what anybody thinks. And then when Rover's Morning Glory left, I kept listening to them, and I listened to them every morning. But the show that means a lot to me, the show that influenced me, the show that is the reason I'm at ICB right now paying to get into radio is Opie and Anthony. They would help me get through my mornings. When I used to be made fun of back in middle school, they were the show that I would listen to while in class. They are the reason I'm going into radio. And they don't care what anybody thinks of them. And they're making big money doing this. You know what I mean? They make $3 million, $4 million a year. And they made even more money back in the day in 2002. But if it wasn't for Opie and Anthony, Ryan, the Hoppe and SuperRICH Show with Ryan Risky would not be around right now. And it's just frustrating to me, so we're going to have you read about it. Anthony Cumia got fired over some tweets. Yes, they're very obnoxious.
Very.
Yes, they're not very polite. Yeah, he didn't really come off like the classiest guy in the moment, but the fact that everybody in radio is like throwing them under the bus, the fact that everyone's not really defending him, even though they've been doing a show for 20 years, is absolutely ridiculous, Ryan. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
So read the article and explain to the radio world what happened, and I'll comment, because I got some thoughts with me right now.
All right. So this is Anthony, and this is from thedailybeast.com. Anthony Cumia, I have no regrets.
And then real quick, I had to use this site because every other American site didn't have
Oh, is this not an American site?
Yeah, they didn't have bias reporting. Like CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, they begin with Shock Jock has edgy tweets, but they don't talk about how he was beat up in Times Square. It's ridiculous. Like, how can you be a news organization, right, and leave that part out? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's their job, though.
To be biased imbeciles, I guess so.
Pretty much, yeah, I mean, that's their job. I mean, they're supposed to do. They're supposed to. Once one news group reports it as one way, they're all going to report it the same way. It doesn't matter who's the good guy or the bad guy. Whatever the first one that was reported is going to be the good guy or the bad guy. And in this case, all of them, the first one made him the bad guy, so all of them are making him sound like that.
And it's like everyone's trying to make him come off like he's racist, even though one of the most legendary comedians before he died to ever come on a show was black. Patrice O'Neal, one of my heroes. They've had Kevin Hart on. What do you mean he's racist? So explain what the article says. I'm just in awe that he got fired over this on an uncensored platform.
Yeah, so it says, so he quotes, I have no regrets. For radio shock jock Anthony Cumia, whose career as half of SiriusXM's Opie and Anthony duo self-immolated last week on Twitter, being fired means never having to say you're sorry.
Listen, I get that they are on an uncensored platform. They're on like one of the 10 uncensored channels on SiriusXM radio. Mm-hmm. But the word shock jock needs to be thrown into the toilet and then flushed. Enough of the word shock jock. This is in 1994. Nothing they say is new. If what they do is edgy because they swear and they speak their mind, then 50 Cent's a shock jock. Chief Keef's a shock jock. You know what I mean? If you swear and you speak your mind in a song, then anybody who swears is a shock jock. Like, enough of that term.
I get that.
It's just so nauseating. It's a way for the media to report on it while making them look negatively. Like, whenever you're called a shock jock, that's not positive. Like, none of these guys who are sort of shock jocks, like Howard, Opie and Anthony, Bubba the Love Sponge, none of them say, you're listening to Bubba the Love Sponge, I'm a shock jock. No, it's a word that the media came up with to throw people under the bus. Like, enough of the word. It's 2014 going on 2015. Nothing's shocking anymore. You can literally go on Google and look up anything that's filthy. Is that shocking? No. With internet now and all the technology, you can get anything in 2 seconds. So nothing's shocking anymore, Ryan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I agree with you. So let's see what it says here. He says, you know what? Anytime something happens that throws a huge change in your life, you always think back on whether it could have been done differently, the 53-year-old Cumia told the Daily Beast. But as I do that, I have no regrets about what I did on how I handled the situation, because that's how I've always handled it. Any other way would be phony, and I'm anything but phony.
Listen.
What's the future of the show since he's fired?
Here's what happened. They had it as the Opie and Anthony channel for like the last few days, and when I would tune in my room on my Sirius radio, it was weird. They kept playing shows when it's Opie, Jim Norton, and then like a comedian who would sit in with Anthony. Like they made sure they played shows that Anthony wasn't on, and they just changed the name of it today to Sirius XM Talk XL.
What?
Yuck! They changed the name on it.
That's an awful name.
Well, that proves that he won't be there come October because that's when their contract is up. Which is really weird because time has flown by so much. When I was a freshman at Hartford 2 years ago, I was driving home when they were on the air announcing they renewed for 2 years. And I remember thinking, oh, yeah, that 2 years is going to go by so slow. I'm going to have so much time to listen to them. And now it's like I can't listen to them in the morning. It gets me angry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can imagine.
So they're not renewing Opie's contract when it's over.
Him and Jim Norton, just kind of, who is like the third voice on the show, he's like the comedian, sort of like the Artie Lang to Howard, you know what I mean? Like the comedian that sits in. They're going to play out their contract throughout, like, until October, and then they're done. And I think they're going to do a podcast where you pay like $10 a month, and believe me, I would pay for that. So, what else does it say, Ryan?
Let's see. It says the situation in this case was Cumia's hostile late-night encounter in Times Square last Wednesday with a young African-American woman who registered her objection when he took her picture by allegedly punching him repeatedly in the face.
I love this. He was in Times Square. You know, you're in the biggest city in not just America, but in North America. You know what I mean? You're in the biggest city on this continent. You're taking pictures of the skyline. You're taking pictures of everything there. And he takes a picture of her, and she was acting up. Mm-hmm. So all he's doing nothing illegal. I've taken pictures before of weird people in public. Hell, last night at the gym, some guy was shaving his head onto one of the gym towels. I took a picture of that. I put it on Twitter at Hoppe Radio 893. Like, you're allowed to take pictures. That guy didn't attack me. I didn't go on a Twitter rant.
It's not like he signed a contract that said you can't take a picture of me.
And you're allowed to take pictures in public. That's what a camera's for.
Yeah.
And then he just takes pictures of her, and she begins attacking him. Everyone seems to overlook that. He got beat up. Yeah, his tweets are obnoxious. I'm not going to read them on here because you literally can't even clean them out. They're so filthy.
There's no way to clean them out.
Yeah, we won't be repeating what he said.
But
here's the one thing, though, is it doesn't really matter. Like, let's say, right, because of the way the media's portrayed him, it doesn't matter even if he was the good guy and they know that. People are going to call and complain, and as Rich Rennick, our first teacher, said, the people control the radio. If you do something that they don't like, they can call and complain. If there's enough, they'll fire you.
I love that point by you. Thank you so much. The same people who are complaining don't even have the opportunity to listen to the show.
Right, they don't even know what they're talking about, probably.
Listen, when you pay for Sirius Radio, you don't even get Opie and Anthony. You have to pay for the Sirius XM package unless you pay for XM. So my point is, unless you go to YouTube and search up their show, there's no way you're going to ever be in a car with your kids and you tune on Opie and Anthony. You pay for them. What are you talking about? And the same people who are complaining aren't even in the same part of the country. There's people in Portland and Albuquerque who are mad. That show never was even heard in Albuquerque or Portland. I just hate the phoniness of these outrageous groups, Ryan, these special interest groups who have nothing better to do than complain and get someone fired. I'm not saying right now Anthony is
They don't have anything better to do with their life.
Yeah, and I'm not saying right now Anthony is hurting because he's made millions. Look up his house on Google. It's insane. I'm just saying the fact that you get someone fired because you didn't like the words he said, even though he was beat up and he didn't retaliate, even though he said he had a gun on him in Twitter, all he did was tweet words. Are we that soft as a country now?
Like, that's just like going to a Cubs game or something and taking a picture of where your seats are located, and then the fan sees you with a camera out and comes over and starts beating you up because you're taking a picture just to show how close you are to the field or whatever.
Right.
Here's what it'd be like. It'd be like if Len Casper, for some reason, tweeted a picture, and then he got attacked for it, and then he went on a Twitter rampage and made fun of him, and then he gets fired, even though it was just words. That's what it would basically be like. You know what I mean?
Was he fired before his Twitter rant?
No, afterwards. He was fired on the 4th of July. Yay. America's birthday. Freedom
Happy
of speech.
birthday.
Yeah, yay for freedom of speech. Woo!
Yeah, so much for freedom of speech there. But let's see what it says here. So after the girl punched him repeatedly in the face, that prompted Cumia to vent in a series of socially dubious, foul-mouthed tweets.
I like that word because CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, they're all saying racist shock jock tweets, rampage. But when you're saying the word racist, you're putting in opinion. I'm not saying what he tweeted was right, but you're a news channel. Report it fairly. Say filthy tweets or say outrageous tweets. Get Anthony Cumia of the Opie Anthony Show fired, but don't report it with bias by saying racist shock jock. Like, that's lazy journalism.
Do you think these tweets had anything to do with why he was fired?
Oh, he's fired because of those.
Oh, that's why he's fired? Okay,
yeah.
So if he didn't make those tweets, you think he'd still have his job then?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not because people were complaining that he was being racist in public? Or
Oh, no. I think they were trying to find a way to get rid of him, too, because if you listen to the show, they kept asking for a bigger booth to have guests, because, like, Howard has this insane booth for Howard TV, and they didn't really have a TV show, and they kept wanting to expand their show. It took them like a whole year to get a podcast up. So what I'm getting at is they didn't really have the best situation with Sirius XM if you listen to them. So I think this is just a way for Sirius to get rid of them.
Okay, so you think they were just looking to get rid of him?
That's what I believe. Because if you think Howard did this, would they really get rid of him? The most listened to show on satellite radio, I believe, like Opie and Anthony are second behind him. Like, do you really think they'd get rid of Howard?
No.
You know what I mean?
That's just almost like when the Blackhawks fired Susanna.
It's even worse.
Yeah.
And she's not doing much now. I think she has a job now that she's being paid. People seem to overlook that. Oh, wow, she said the word sex on accident. Whoa, like, come on.
She recovered. I mean, it was fine. I mean,
she recovered beautifully. It wasn't like she giggled about it. Like, shame on the Blackhawks for firing her. Completely forgot about that. You know what
I mean, that's just like the same thing. Like, they were looking for a way to fire her because Comcast and the Blackhawks, they wanted her fired, and then that was like what they used that as a reason to fire her, even though that wasn't the reason.
Yeah,
they were looking to get rid of her for a while.
It's just this new thing where everybody has to say they're sorry. That's why I love what Cumia's doing. He's saying, I have no regrets.
Right,
I mean, I don't even agree with what he's saying. I think it's rude. I think it was immature of him. But I love the fact that he's not saying sorry. If he were to say sorry, I would lose a little bit of respect for him just to get the job back.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
He has such a wide fan base. If he quits his job right now, he can literally pay for a podcast and millions of people will listen. Mm-hmm. Dude, they had 40,000 signatures in 3 days on change.org, and I signed that like 4 times. I'm just saying, like, they have people canceling the subscriptions, and Sirius could lose $4 million because of the canceled subscriptions. Like, I would dream to someday have a fan base like Opie and Anthony, where Hoppe, Super Rich, and Risky somehow goes off the air, and all of a sudden we have people wanting us on the air. We have people signing petitions. We have people canceling the service because of us. And hey, we have people changing their Twitter pictures of me. Like, how great would that be?
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool, yeah.
And the fact that everyone acts like Cumia's some Howard ripoff just because he's edgy on the air, what does that even mean? Howard was influenced by Dahl and Gary Meyer. It's a known fact, Ryan. Howard took all the bits from like Dahl and Gary Meyer.
Yeah,
so everyone gets
you've
influenced
talked
somewhere.
about that before. Yeah.
So then, is 50 Cent a ripoff of Run DMC? And did Run DMC rip off the guys who did the song Rapper's Delight? Did Metallica rip off the Beatles? Did Family Guy, Futurama, Oblongs, or any show on Adult Swim, South Park rip off The Simpsons? And then did The Simpsons rip off the Flintstones? Like, Ryan, everyone gets influenced somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You agree with me?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Obviously, everybody gets influenced from somewhere. That's how people... I mean, that's just how it works.
You were influenced by Lawrence Holmes. You're a Lawrence Holmes ripoff. Ryan, who's your favorite talk show host or anything?
Well, I'd probably go with Len Casper.
You're a Len Casper ripoff.
Oh, I love Len Casper.
Or him or Doc Emmerich.
You're a Doc Emmerich ripoff. You suck. Come on now. Really?
So as of this morning, a petition demanding Cumia's reinstatement had collected more than 21,000 supporters, which, assuming most of these folks are Opie and Anthony fans who are canceling their subscriptions to protest Cumia's sacking, could mean the loss of millions of dollars to SiriusXM, which Ryan talked about.
They absolutely deserve that. SiriusXM deserves to lose these millions of dollars because of that.
Especially when their big draw back in 2006 when Howard joined there or he left FM radio. The big draw was, this is uncensored. The big draw was, you can say whatever you want, man. The big draw was, this is the next generation of radio, man. And then they suspended them. You can look it up on Google. I can't talk about it on the air because it's too dirty, but it involved a homeless man making fun of Condoleezza Rice. And they got suspended for that. It wasn't that bad. So what I'm getting at is this company back like almost 10 years ago now, tried to act like they're going to be the new wave of radio, but they've succumbed to what Opie and Anthony have said. You know what I mean? Are you really paying for free speech, or is it just kind of like free speech until special interest groups get involved and then you're done? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you agree with me?
No, I agree with you. Like, we know you're a big supporter of him and the show in general, so yeah, hopefully. Did you sign this thing?
I signed it 4 times. I signed it as my mom, my uncle, myself,
really?
and my cat's name. I signed it as Dino Hoppe.
Did you by any chance sign it as us either?
No, I probably should do that, though. Here's my last point.
Yeah.
Howard has said many things. Like, he made fun of the girl who made the movie Precious.
Yeah.
He made fun of her weight. He didn't get fired for that. Howard's had other things that he's gotten in trouble for. Jamie Foxx, and I love this part, called Miley Cyrus a dumb white, and that is okay for him to do? How about all the uncensored music you play on any of the rock channels that encourage violence?
The more famous you are, the harder it is to get you off the air.
Yeah, because honestly, Jamie Foxx is a bigger name than Anthony Cumia. We're all being honest here.
Yeah, well, and same with Howard Stern. You know, I think Howard Stern can get away with a lot more than,
which is unfair. It should be the same precedent.
The Opie Anthony Show can.
It's the same precedent. It should be.
Has Opie said anything regarding the Anthony firing or anything?
He says he's torn between it, and they have to play out the contract. And he didn't like that fans were like ripping him, saying, "You're not loyal." Do you know what a contract is, you morons? God, the fans are such idiots.
As they say, that the show must go on. You can't just like.
But they're not going to resign it. The fact that they didn't change it to like the Opie channel and they changed it to Sirius XM.
Yeah, that was kind of the icing on the cake to get rid of him.
Think about it. Sirius XM Talk XL. Ugh. Enough of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he'll be somewhere.
Oh, I think they're going to do a podcast because come August, Anthony said he's going to do a podcast called Live from the Compound, which he's done. It's in his nice-ass basement.
So now he just might do that as his full-time thing.
Until October. I believe they're going to do a podcast where you pay like $10 a month for them, which I would do in a second. And coming up, Ryan.
Coming up, the Hoppe and SuperRICH Show.
Before we get to classy news, there's an article I want to touch upon. Because our show is now like, I hate the word shock jock. Like, I think it's awful because it's 2014. We speak our mind on our show, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And this article is trying to say that the type of radio we want to go into, I'll use the word FM talk, or they call it hot talk. They're trying to say it's not around anymore.
Yeah, because it says here...
it's ridiculous.
Sirius XM boycott. Sorry, Anthony Cumia fans. Radio shock jocks are obsolete, which
even though
not necessarily true.
What are you talking about? Even though in every city there's an edgy show, it's number one, and edgy podcasts are the most popular ones. But yeah, the talk radio format's dying. Get the hell out of here. We will be right back on the Hoppe and SuperRICH Show here on the Edge on Air.com. Hang on.
The Hoppe and SuperRICH Show.